So, good morning everyone. Again, writing proofs under loss of deductive reasoning. So, actually, last week pa po tayo na nandito sa topic na writing proofs. Inductive reasoning and deductive reasoning are two of the reasoning na pwede natin gamitin when it comes to proving something. But pinaka mas mainam pong gamitin when it comes to proving ay ang deductive reasoning. Bakit kaya? Kasi ang deductive reasoning ay nakabase sa facts, sa definitions, sa accepted properties and laws of logic. Unlike sa inductive reasoning, ang inductive reasoning po kasi ay nakabase lamang sa mga examples. So kung kakaunti ang examples mo, possible po na hindi totoo yung mabuo nating proving. And now, ngayon po ay pag-aaralan natin kung ano nga ba ang dapat nating sundin when it comes to deductive reasoning. Kasi po, meron po pala tayong dapat sundin na pattern when it comes to deductive reasoning. And once po na hindi tayo nakasunod sa pattern na ito, hindi tayo magkakaroon ng conclusion. So, kahapon po ay meron akong pinapanood sa inyo na 4-minute video clip. And ano nga po ba yung dalawang laws under deductive reasoning? Yes, Mr. Sanjo.
Law of detachment po, tsaka law of syllogism.
Okay, very good. Do you agree, Miss Batoon? Napanood po ba?
Opo, ma'am.
Okay po. So, yes, the two laws of deductive reasoning ay ang law of detachment and law of syllogism. So, dun lang po pala dapat iikot yung pag-form natin ng conclusion when it comes to deductive reasoning. Kung hindi po magfo-fall sa dalawang laws na yon, ibig sabihin, we are not going to make a conclusion. So, ang una po nating pag-aaralan ay ang law of detachment. So, again, deductive reasoning ay ang mas okay na reasoning when it comes to writing a proof because this reasoning are based on facts, definition, accepted properties, and laws of logic. And again, ang laws of detachment, ang una nating pag-aaralan, at ito po ay tinatawag din na modus ponens. So, kapag pasok nyo ng college or ng inyong senior high, pag narinig nyo yung modus ponens, sabihin nyo, familiar to kasi napag-aralan ko na to nung grade 8. So, ano po yung law of detachment o modus ponens? So, sabi dito, if P implies Q is true, and P is true, then Q is true. So, masasabi daw natin na true yung magiging conclusion natin if yung atin mismong conditional statement ay totoo. So, mas maganda kung dito sa ating law of detachment or deductive reasoning, yung ating agad unang-unang conditional statement ay based from facts. Ano po? And then, yung P po natin na pangalawa or magiging premise natin, second statement natin ay nagfo-fall dapat sa ating hypothesis ng conditional statement para makapag-conclude din tayo ng totoo. So let us have this example. So what I'm trying to say is that first, meron tayong conditional statement. If you are a penguin, then you live in the southern hemisphere. So tingnan natin maigi yung ating conditional statement. Ang P or yung ating hypothesis is you are a penguin. Then ang conclusion natin, you live in the southern hemisphere. Now, for the premise or second statement, kailangan po ang pinag-uusapan doon ay yung hypothesis natin from the first conditional statement. Okay? So for the second statement or the premise, again, kailangan po ang ating topic dito ay yung hypothesis dun sa conditional statement. Kapag ganon, makakapag-form po tayo ng conclusion. At alin ang magiging conclusion natin, yun din pong conclusion ng conditional statement. So again, you are a penguin is the topic under the hypothesis of our conditional statement. Therefore, yung atin pong conclusion ay yung manggagaling dito sa conclusion ng conditional statement. So, ganyan po yung law natin ng law of detachment. Kailangan ganyan ng flow, okay? So, may conditional statement, may hypothesis, may conclusion. And then, dun sa premise, kailangan ang topic na pag-uusapan ay yung hypothesis mismo ng conditional statement para makapagbigay tayo ng conclusion na nanggaling din sa conclusion ng ating conditional statement. Okay? So that is our example number 1. So for our example number 2, sabi dito, if a bird is the largest of all birds, then it is flightless. The premise says that an ostrich is the largest living bird. What can we conclude? Or pasok nga ba yung premise natin dun sa ating hypothesis nung conditional statement? Kasi kapag yung topic ng premise natin is yung nasa hypothesis din ng conditional statement, ibig sabihin po nito, makakapaggawa tayo ng conclusion. Okay? So, ano po ang ating magiging conclusion dito? Again, if a bird is the largest of all birds, then it is flightless. Sabi sa premise, an ostrich is the largest living bird. What will be our conclusion about ostrich? Yes, Miss Padua?
Then it is flightless.
Okay, so that's correct. Or the ostrich or an ostrich is flightless. So that's correct po. Again, makakapag-conclude lang tayo kapag yung premise natin or yung example natin or second statement natin ay yung hypothesis ng ating first statement or nung conditional statement. So, correction na rin po ito class dun sa mga nauna nating examples and activity about deductive reasoning. Okay? Makinig pong maigi. Last week po, nakapagbigay tayo ng ganitong deductive reasoning wherein ang second statement natin ay nasa conclusion pala. So, ibig sabihin, yung mga ginawa nating yon is mali po pala last week, di po ba? So, the correct way po pala on how we can form the conclusion is that ang ating second premise or second statement, kailangan ay yung nasa hypothesis ng ating conditional statement. Okay? Tandaan po, premise, second statement ay yung hypothesis ng conditional statement bago tayo makapag-conclude. So since last week po ay kulang ang ating understanding or hindi pa kumpleto yung ating napag-aralan about deductive reasoning, kaya meron tayong ganong pangyayari. But ngayon, since pinag-aaralan na natin ng mas malalim pa ang deductive reasoning, mas nagiging malinaw kung alin nga ba ang tama at mali. Okay? So, number 3. Sabi dito, if n is an odd number, then its remainder is 1 when it is divided by 2. Hypothesis is n is an odd number. Conclusion is its remainder is 1 when n is divided by 2. Now, kailangan yung premise natin or second statement ay pasok dito sa hypothesis. Tingnan natin. So sabi dito, 17 is an odd number. So malinaw po na ang dinidescribe ng second statement natin ay nandito rin sa ating hypothesis. Therefore, makakapag-conclude tayo. Ano ang magiging conclusion natin about 17? Anyone from the class? Mr. Alfonso. Hello, may kasama pa ba ako? Ikaw po, Mr. Ruiz. What will be the conclusion kaya?
Then its remainder is 1 when 17 is divided by 2.
Okay, correct po. Tama po. Then its remainder is 1 when 17 is divided by 2 or 17 has a remainder of 1 when it is divided by 2. Ayan. So correct po yung nabanggit ni Miss Recta. Okay? So again, tingnan pong maigi yung flow ng ating reasoning. Ganito lang po yung accepted natin when it comes to deductive reasoning. Again, meron tayong conditional statement na kailangan totoo na. And then, yung ating premise or second statement or example ay magfo-fall sa hypothesis nung ating conditional statement. Ayan. Para yung conclusion po ng conditional statement ay magagamit natin dito sa ating premise or second statement. Another example, example number 4. I will read the problem for you guys. So, CJ knows that if he will not study his module in math a day before the test, he will not get a good score in the test. CJ did not study his module in math today, so he concludes that he will not get a good score for tomorrow's test. So, nandyan na po yung ating mga sagot. Di po ba? Ang conditional statement natin ay etong nandito sa if hanggang dun sa may test. So, sabi dyan, if CJ will not study his module in math a day before the test, then he will not get a good score. Then, yung ating premise, yung second statement, sabi dito, CJ did not study his module in math today. So, itong CJ did not study his module in math today ay pasok po dun sa ating hypothesis ng conditional statement. Same thought, same idea. Kung napanood nyo rin po yung video kahapon na 4-minute, malinaw po yun. Kahit 4-minute video lang. Ayan, ito po ay hypothesis natin dito sa conditional statement. Ibig sabihin, makakapag-conclude po tayo gamit yung conclusion ng conditional statement. Ang sabi diyan, he will not get a good score. Itong problem na to ay correct yung pagkakagamit ng deductive reasoning. Kasi, again, yung hypothesis po ng conditional statement ang pinag-uusapan dun sa premise or sa second statement. Kaya yung conclusion po ng conditional statement ay magagamit natin na conclusion for our premise. Or si CJ ay hindi magkakaroon ng magandang score sa test. Example 5. So if a figure is a triangle, then the sum of its angles is equal to 180 degrees. So sabi dito, a figure ABC is a triangle. So again, yung premise na ibinigay ay yung hypothesis din natin ng conditional statement. So makakapag-conclude po tayo gamit yung conclusion ng conditional statement. The sum of the angles of figure ABC is equal to 180 degrees. Okay? Again, the sum of angles in figure ABC is equal to 180 degrees. So make sure lang po na ang tinutukoy natin dito sa conclusion natin na last is yung tungkol dun sa premise natin. Ayan. So malinaw din na nandyan si figure ABC. Yung kanina, si 17, nandun din sa ating conclusion. Si ostrich, na dinescribe sa premise, nandun din siya sa conclusion. Ano po? So hindi lang natin basta kukunin itong nasa conditional statement na the sum of its angles. So, isama pa rin natin yung talagang pinag-uusapan na which is si figure ABC. Okay? So, ayan po. Ganyan yung flow ng laws of syllogism under deductive reasoning. Ganyan lang po dapat tayo makakapag-conclude. So, example po ng hindi nagfo-fall dun sa flow when it comes to law of detachment. Okay? So, dito, ang sabi sa conditional statement, if two lines are parallel, then they do not intersect. So, ito yung ating hypothesis, ito yung conclusion. Pero dun sa premise, ang dinescribe agad ay yung do not intersect. Di po ba? So, ibig sabihin, hindi siya nag-follow dun sa rule or dun sa law of detachment, kaya ang lalagay natin sa conclusion ay we cannot conclude or no conclusion at all. Okay? No conclusion po siya. Kasi nga po, ang pinagkuhanan natin or yung premise natin ay doon na agad sa conclusion nag-fall. Ano pang i-conclude natin kung nandun na siya sa conclusion mismo? So, nakita po yung pagkakaiba nung nauna. Doon po sa mga naunang example, ang ating pong premise ay hypothesis nagfo-fall. And then yung conclusion natin ng conditional statement, siyang gagamitin to conclude about our premise. Dito naman, ang binigay sa premise is conclusion na agad. So, ang magiging conclusion natin is we cannot conclude. Kasi nga po, conclusion na agad yung binigay sa premise natin. Okay? So, tandaan din po, it is important to make sure that the conditional is true. So, yung unang statement natin ay true before using the law of detachment. Otherwise, you could end up making the wrong conclusion. So, kaya nga po dito sa deductive reasoning, hanggat maaari po, ang unang babanggitin natin ay based in facts. Okay? Base sa mga totoo nakalagay na sa libro or lagi nang ginagamit at nang sa ganon, yung magiging conclusion natin under the second statement or sa premise ay totoo pa rin. It's your time naman po. So if there is lightning, then it is not safe to play outside. Sabi dito, Peter saw lightning. So what can we conclude po? Anyone from the class? Miss Padua.
Peter is not safe to play outside po.
Okay, correct po. Ano po? Peter is not safe to play outside. So, tamang-tama ang pagkakagawa mo ng conclusion, Miss Padua, kasi una sa lahat, ginamit mo or isinama mo talaga yung pinag-uusapan natin, which is si Peter, and then, yung conclusion from the conditional statement, yung ginamit mo to conclude kung anong pwede mangyari kay Peter. And number 2, if you get an average grade of 95 to 100, then you will be in the honor roll. You're in the honor roll. So may mabubuo ba tayong conclusion? Ano po ba 'yon? O wala po tayong mabubuong conclusion? Yes, Mr. Sanjo.
Ma'am, try ko lang po.
Yes po.
You have get an average grade of 95 to 100.
Okay, you get an average grade of 95 to 100. Pero kung titingnan po natin, you're in the honor roll. Ito yung second premise natin. Pasok ba siya sa hypothesis ng ating unang statement? Alin ba ang hypothesis natin dito sa number 2 na ito? If you get an average grade of 95 to 100, so you get an average grade of 95 to 100. Yun yung hypothesis natin. Ang conclusion, you will be an honor roll. Kaso, ang binanggit sa premise po ay you're in the honor roll. Ano po yung honor roll natin sa conditional statement? Hypothesis or conclusion? So, lagyan ko po ng ink. Yan, para mas malinaw. Okay. Sabi dito, you're in the honor roll. Ayan. Nasaan siya dito? Sa ating conditional statement. So, ang P natin ay you get an average grade of 95 to 100. Yan yung P. And then, ang Q natin is you will be in the honor roll. Ang naging premise ay nag-fall saan? Sa conclusion or sa hypothesis? So, yung flow po ng deductive reasoning, kailangan malinaw, class. Since ang atin pong premise or second statement ay nag-fall sa ating conclusion, ang sagot po natin dito sa number 2 actually is no conclusion or we cannot conclude. Kasi nga po, ito ay honor roll and siya ay makikita natin dito sa conclusion, which is hindi naman po yun yung law of detachment. Hindi naman po yun yung pattern na sinusundan natin when it comes to deductive reasoning under law of detachment. So, tandaan po, ito yung isa sa malinaw na kailangan nating tandaan. Kailangan ang atin pong second statement ay pasok dito sa hypothesis. So, dapat dito, you got an average grade of 96. Saka pa tayo makakapagkaroon ng conclusion. Eh, since ang sinabi dito ay honor roll ka and yung honor roll na banggit sa conclusion. So, ang sagot po natin dapat dyan ay we cannot conclude or no conclusion. Ayan, no conclude tuloy. Cannot conclude. So, sana po ay malinaw yung example 2. Let's have example 3. So, tingnan nyo po ulit maigi. If the sum of two angles is equal to 90 degrees, then the angles are complementary. So, yun yung ating conditional statement. Ang hypothesis natin, yung nasa kasunod ng if. Ang conclusion natin, nasa kasunod ng then. Then, yung ating premise or example or second statement, sabi dyan, an angle x is equals to 30 and angle y is equals to 60. So, ano po ba ang sum ng 30 and 60?
90 po.
So, ano mako-conclude natin kay angle x and angle y? So, since itong equal to 30 and 90 ay pasok po ulit dito sa the sum of two angles is 90. Ayan. Ito ay nasa hypothesis ng conditional statement. So, makakapag-conclude po tayo. Ano ngayon ang magiging conclusion natin? Yes, Miss Padua.
The sum of angle x and angle y are complementary po.
Okay. So, pwedeng alisin na yung the sum. Sabihin na lang natin na angle x and angle y are complementary. So, that's correct po. Again, yung flow natin or law of detachment natin ay malinaw naman na nakikita dito. Hypothesis po yung pinapakita ng ating second statement. Kaya po makakapag-conclude tayo gamit itong conclusion ng ating conditional statement. Learning task 1, item 4. If a figure has four sides, then it is a quadrilateral. So, ang pinag-uusapan po or ang ating P, hypothesis, ay four sides. So, tingnan nga natin itong ating premise or second statement. Four sides din po ba ang pinag-uusapan dito? So, ayan. Sana po yung iba dyan sa likod ng Google Meet or uma-attend ngayon ay nakikinig talaga kasi meron po tayong task today. Ayan. Four sides. So, dito ay four sides din. So, pasok po yung ating hypothesis at yung premise ay pareho. So, ano magiging conclusion natin dito? Yes, Miss Batoon?
It is quadrilateral.
Okay, so it is a quadrilateral. Alin yung it na yon? Ano yung pinag-uusapan natin? Di po ba siya ay square? So, sabihin na lang natin na square is a quadrilateral. Ayan, yung magiging conclusion natin. Square is a quadrilateral. Since yung atin pong hypothesis ng conditional statement ang pinag-uusapan din dito sa ating premise. Okay? So, number 5. Ayan. So, move ko lang ito. Sabi dito, if two integers are add, then the sum is even number. The numbers x and y has a sum of even number. So, ang pinag-uusapan dapat, hypothesis, is that two integers are odd numbers. Kaya lang, ano po ba itong nandito sa ating second statement? Sabi dito, numbers x and y has a sum of even number. Pareho ba sila ng thought or pinag-uusapan? Saan natin matatagpuan yung even number na word? Nasa hypothesis ba o nasa conclusion?
Conclusion
Sa
po.
conclusion po.
Okay, nasa conclusion. So, anong sasabihin natin ngayon sa ating final conclusion for this example or for this item? So, di po ba kagaya siya nung number 2 na ang isasagot natin na ay we cannot conclude. So, correction na rin po natin yan dun sa mga nauna nating examples under deductive reasoning since hindi pa malinaw sa atin kung ano nga ba yung mga law na dapat pala nating sundin when it comes to deductive reasoning. Ayan. Ngayon, malinaw na kailangan pala yung premise natin ay yung hypothesis ng conditional statement. Okay? Yung premise natin or second statement ay ang ating hypothesis ng ating conditional statement. Okay?